Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Danielle, aka Stitcherista here on YouTube, and today is Thursday, February 17th, and I am off work today. Let me tell you, yesterday I worked until 9:15 p.m. And yesterday was just all kinds of hell. Like, things I had to do to fix things on the job the day before, because both of those days were in the same case. And oh my god, it just was like, at the end of the day, Bill had made cauliflower crust pizza for dinner and I hardly even ate, and I'm like, I don't even have an appetite. I was just so like, so got done that before all hell like broke loose. I was able to get some stitching done, so I do have some stitching to show you. I worked more on the mug, so I got more of the mug done. Doesn't it look so good? It's looking good. Yeah, I absolutely love, and I was in the middle of so I stopped and just put the needle minder there. The lighting is not that great in here for filming, but because when I hold this up, when I hold it up back here, but when I get closer, it's like not bright. So, but yeah, when I'm done filming this, I'm going to do some stitching. So I did buy some gadgets today for stitching. I'm not going to tell you what they are though. You're going to have to wait till they come in because it's best to just show and tell. And I also ordered some Nashville Market releases, pre-ordered obviously from Top Knot Stitcher, Abby. She is another wonderful human being in our community. And I met her in person at the Floss Tube Retreat, and so I get her newsletter. And yeah, I decided to order a couple things. And one designer, I'm going to show you because I saw some of their patterns on Etsy. Like, where the hell have I been where I didn't know this designer existed? So let's do that before I get too off track. Let's go to Etsy. My cart is insane. I have 65 things in my cart because I had just put patterns in here when I like them. So why is it, it should be more than that though. Yeah, it's $304, I'm sorry. Okay, Luminous Fiber Arts is the company I'm talking about. And these patterns with the birds, this one is the one that popped up in my feed, and then I started doing a deep dive on them. So look at that one, Gathering Berries. First of all, you get to use one thread. I mean, you know, one color, which I am just all about that. And look at the buttons. Now, I thought, you know, Just Another Button Company makes like really cool buttons. Like, there are different buttons you could put in the middle of those. Absolutely love that. I love the bird that's upside down. So then I start looking and find out that they have this one, which is Gathering Snowflakes. Well, I don't know what thread that is, but that's gorgeous. What thread is that? Stitched over two, I don't know. It's a beautiful blue. Look at that blue though. Oh my God, right? And look at the snowman's face. Are you kidding me right now? That one, and then they have this one. This is a new release for, no it isn't. This is Gathering Clover. I just love the idea of using one thread. Plus I have all the DMC, all the sulky variegated, but all the DMC variegated also. I was like, where have I been? Like, and here's another one. They did, this is Misty Purcell. I've seen her floss tubes before. This is, what the hell is the name of it? Gathering Acorns. I mean, look at that. And they're going to be perfect for the junk journal because they're only 76 by 76. I was just like, where the hell have I been with those? Love those. So have all of those in my cart. I've been really good with like not like going crazy and just buying. No, I can add them to the cart. So there was that. And books. Talk about books really quick. I finished The Housekeeper very good. Did not see that ending coming. And then I started a new one today called The Perfect Son by Frida Mcfadden. Frida Mcfadden is one of my favorite authors, and all of her books are available on Kindle Unlimited. So here is the premise of the book. Mrs. Cass, we were hoping your son could answer a few questions about the girl who disappeared last night. Erica Cass has a perfect family and a perfect life. Until the evening when 2 detectives show up at her front door. A high school girl has vanished from Erica's quiet suburban neighborhood. The police suspect the worst. Murder. I haven't said that in a long time, right? And Erica's teenage son, Liam, was the last person to see the girl alive. Erica has always sensed something dark and disturbed in her seemingly perfect older child. She wants to believe he's innocent, but as the evidence mounts, she can't deny the truth. Liam may have done the unthinkable. Now she must ask herself, how far will she go to protect her son? And the chapters are kind of short, and they're in the perspective of the characters, which I love those kind of books. And so I've already read like 30 pages this morning. And this one line in the book, I laughed for like 20 minutes afterwards. So one of her friends or acquaintances at the school asked her to do something for the PTA, and she thought to herself, I'd rather eat dirt. And I don't know why that caught me so funny. Probably because I've thought the same thing. When someone asks me to go somewhere or do something, I'm thinking to myself, I'd rather eat dirt. Oh, I was dying. I laughed like, it just popped into my head like every 2 minutes I was dying laughing. Okay, purchases. So, first of all, let's talk about auctions. So, this could not have worked out any better yesterday, let me tell you. So I had 8 fabric auctions. One person, a subscriber who has bought fabric from me before, who has sent me gifts, she won all 8. She was getting fabric for herself and a friend of hers, and she was like, Danielle has great taste in fabric. What was nice was that I was able to package it all up in a big box, and I had UPS come get it. They came and picked it up yesterday. Done. Like, not having to ship 8 different packages. Fantastic. So I hope she enjoys all of the fabric. And I do have I have a thread auction going too, because I cleaned out like all my threads when I was organizing my sulky and all of that. So a whole bunch of, just one big lot. So if I remember, I will link that down below if you want to take a look at that. I think it's up to like $85 right now, which bring it fucking on, right? Okay, so I did get my sulky boxes in the mail. The boxes from Fat Quarter Shop. So let me flip you around and I'll take you out there so we can see them, because they are fabulous. Now, ideally, see, there's the boxes. See them next to the DMC chest? Ideally, I would love to have something where, like, I could put all the spools on, but it would just have to be so giant. Like, where the hell would I put that? So, here are the cases. Very hard acrylic. There are rubber feet, silicone feet on the bottom, so they don't move anywhere. I organized these as close as I could by color groupings. So when you pull out the drawer, like I have whites and grays, browns. I have all of the variegated back here. And then up here, you know, it's like purple, blue, green, my reds, my pinks. Now, it is going to be, these are fantastic boxes, by the way. They did a really good job on them. It is going to be a little bit tedious if I have to pull out like more than a couple colors, because I'm going to have to pull out and be like, okay, I'm going to pull out all the greens. But at least I have them grouped now in like color families. And that's all I really wanted. I just wanted something that was organized and not in 5 different cases that I had them in. So there's that. So yeah, they are fantastic cases if you are looking for something like that. Fat Quarter Shop. They were $40 a piece. Now, a bunch of you had suggested different places sell similar things. And I realized that. And again, why is it so... Let me pause. There we go. Like, my God, it was just so, the brightness was just so low on that. Let me try to show you my stitching now that the brightness is like bright. I don't know why that's like the default. It's so dark. No. That looks a little better. Yeah, you guys can see. Yeah, it's going to look much cuter. It's going to really come together once I get the cup done and can move on like to more of the words, and there's like little hearts down there. Yeah, it's really going to come together. And still absolutely loving my orange stitching chair. I can't even talk enough about that. Okay. So I decided, I went looking, because you guys know I like to use one strand. Okay, Sulky is perfect on 18 count. DMC not so much. DMC lighter colors on lighter fabric looks good, but darker colors, no. So I'm like, do I dare to get 20 count Aida? I've stitched on 40 count, you know, 1/2 before, which equals 20 count. But all of the normal fabric dyeing companies that I use, like Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie and Be Stitch Me and Fiberlicious, none of them do 20 count. They all stop at 18 count. There was a seller on Etsy called Vintage Needlearts, and she dyes 20 count. And it's not ridiculous prices. And I actually sent her a message on Etsy thanking her for dyeing 20 count because I couldn't find anybody else that did. So I wanted to show you, I ordered 2 pieces and they came pretty quick because I think she only lists stuff that she already has dyed. I don't know. But I just wanted to show you how cool it was packaged. So it is packaged where it tells you the count, the type of fabric, the size, and the color. This one is called Beach Glass. Now I realize I'm probably going to have to, well, I can probably put it back in this bag. I usually like to fold up my fabric, but I realize that rolling it like that is actually ideal because there's going to be no creases in it. So again, this one is 20 count and it's 15 by 18. And a very just nice neutral, yeah. I mean, let me take a peek here. I can't need readers. But yeah, I mean, I can see the holes. And I feel like, you know, just like when I stitched on 20 count, you know, 40 count 10 years ago, when you start stitching on small count like that, your eyes do get used to it. Yeah, one count of one, look how tiny the holes are. It's not, there we go. I may try to put this in one of the drawers in the cabinet over there. And then the other color I got is Raspberry Swirl. She has a lot of colors. I just wanted to try 2 of them to see if I liked them before I ordered more. I need to try stitching on it and say, oh my God, can my eyes handle it, you know? I hope so. So Raspberry Swirl. Ooh, look at that one. Nice. Yeah, I do wish, it's so nice to have the fabric with no like creases or anything. That's really awesome. I do wish the other fabric companies dyed in 20 count, but I realize they can't do everything. Okay. That was all for purchases. And do we do a true crime today? Because I have time. I'm pretty sure that I'm off today, tomorrow, and Monday. Monday's President's Day. All right, let's see how long this story is. Okay, we'll do a true crime story. Why not? The name, it's Clara Phillips. That is the story. The name Clara Phillips is all but unknown to modern audiences. But back in the roaring 20s, ooh, we back in the 1920s. Back in the roaring 20s, Phillips was a celebrity. Her face splashed across the front page of every newspaper in California. So what was Clara's claim to fame? Was she a Hollywood star? Or the glamorous wife of some high-profile politician? None of the above. Clara perhaps was a killer. Clara Phillips was a killer, perpetrator of a crime so vicious that the press dubbed her Tiger Woman. The fuck? Okay. Clara Weaver had come to Los Angeles from her native Texas with a singular aim in mind. She wanted to be in show business. Beautiful, talented, and vivacious, she certainly had the qualities to make it in Hollywood, but so did every other starstruck young girl streaming into LA from across the country. Clara had to be content with performing in a chorus line at various speakeasies. It was at one of these that she met Armour Phillips. What an interesting name. And it's spelled A-R-M-O-U-R. He was a handsome, upwardly mobile oilman. The attraction between the two was instant and soon developed into a full-blown romance. When Armour asked her to marry him, Clara barely skipped a beat before saying yes. And so, at the age of just 18, holy moly, Clara Weaver gave up her dreams of stardom and settled down to life as Mrs. Clara Phillips. And it wasn't a bad life. California oil trade was booming at that time, and Armour was riding the wave right along with it. The couple had a beautiful house with modern fittings and expensive furniture. Armour was also generous with his wife, showering her with gifts of jewelry, furs, and perfume. So yeah, what's the problem here, Clara? Right? The only downside, and here we go. The only downside to all of this was that paying for the lifestyle placed a heavy burden on Armour. He worked long hours and was often away from home, sometimes for days at a time, and this began to wear on Clara. I get that. I understand that. So she started to wonder what her husband got up to when he was away from her. Sus, right? With lots of time on her hands, her thoughts began to travel to some dark places. She became convinced that Armour was cheating. Perhaps all of those business trips were not about work after all. Perhaps he had a fancy woman holed up somewhere. But if Clara really did have concerns about her husband's fidelity, then she should have been looking closer to home. There was someone who had caught Armour's eye, and she lived just down the street. Alberta Meadows was just 19 years old and had recently been widowed when her husband was electrocuted in a freak accident. The attractive young widow would have been surprised to receive a visit from Armour offering his condolences. However, she probably would not have appreciated his offer for her to call on him if she ever needed a man about the house, and that was in quotes. Seeing right through this thinly veiled solicitation, Alberta thanked him for his concern, assured him that she was doing okay, and sent him on his way. The matter might have ended right there had Armour not been seen leaving the Meadows residence by a notorious local gossip. Jesus Christ. Martha McElroy was soon putting the word out about what she had seen, painting the encounter in the most salacious light possible. And it was only a matter of time before Clara got to hear of it. When Armour arrived home that night, she flew at him, angrily accusing him of cheating on her. Armour assured her that this wasn't the case, that he had just been politely offering his condolences. He swore that Clara was the only woman he loved, the only woman he had ever loved. And with these reassurances, Clara eventually calmed down. I'm guessing not for long, though, because the story is her fucking name. But Clara's sense of serenity did not last long. After Armour departed for work the next day, the doubts crept back in. Armour was an oil stock salesman by trade, a smooth talker. He could get anyone to believe anything. Becoming increasingly paranoid as the day progressed, Clara eventually called her friend Peggy Caffey and asked her to come over. Peggy then had to listen to an hour-long rant at how Armour was cheating on Clara and breaking her heart. By the end of it, the two women had come up with a plan. Clara, what you doing? They were going to follow Alberta Meadows around and catch her and Armour in the act. Then there would be no way for Mr. Smooth Talker to wiggle his way out. Clara needs to stitch. She needs to do some cross stitch. She needs a hobby. Over the days that followed, Clara and Peggy dedicated themselves to their roles as amateur sleuths, getting to know every aspect of Alberta Meadows' routine. Unfortunately for them, none of what they saw validated Clara's suspicions. Alberta's life was as mundane as could be. Mostly it involved traveling to her job at a local bank every morning and returning to her home every evening. There was certainly no sign of armor. This should have reassured Clara that there was nothing going on, but instead it had the opposite effect. What is wrong with this woman? On July 12, 1922, Clara informed her friend Peggy that it was time for a showdown. Oh, Jesus Christ. Following Alberta around had not produced the result they had hoped for. It was time that they confronted the hussy. People say hussy anymore? I guess in 1922 they did. And get her to admit to her sins. Peggy was happy to go along with the plan. Peggy got nothing else going on either. These women need a hobby, I'm telling you. The two women spent that afternoon drinking gin at a Long Beach speakeasy before taking a cab back to Los Angeles. First of all, drinking, not a good combination when you're going to confront somebody. They were waiting for Alberta when she emerged from the bank that afternoon, standing slightly unsteadily on their feet because they'd been fucking drinking. They approached Alberta and asked her for a ride. Clara claimed that she needed to get to her sister's house in Montecito Heights. That was considerably out of her way, but Alberta agreed to take them because Alberta seems like a decent person. Alberta could have had no idea what lay in store for her. As they traversed Montecito Drive, then a winding dirt road, Clara suddenly started accusing her of sleeping with her husband. Alberta denied this, of course, but that only made Clara angry. In fact, she became so aggressive that Alberta was forced to pull the car over to the side of the road for fear they might crash. And that was a mistake. With the vehicle at a stop, Clara started slapping and punching her. Seeking to escape, Albert opened the door but was then struck by Clara and fell out of the vehicle. That knocked the wind out of her, but she regained her footing and started running down the hill, trying to escape the crazy woman who was following her. Alberta might well have escaped her attacker that day had she not broken a heel and been spilled to the ground. This poor woman. Then Clara was on her, and this time she was using more than just her fists. Clara had brought a claw hammer with her, concealed in her purse. Now it was in her hand, and she was raining down blows on her defenseless victim, aiming most of them at the face. And Alberta never stood a chance. She was bludgeoned to death in an attack so vicious that one investigator would later say that the victim appeared to have been mauled by a tiger, hence the name. That comment would later give Clara Phillips her infamous nickname. So now Alberta is dead, killed by a vicious rumor and the unfounded jealousy of a disturbed woman. Clara, however, seemed proud of what she had done. After dropping the traumatized Peggy off at her house, she casually drove home in her victim's car. She was waiting eagerly for Armour when he got home that night. Still dressed in her blood-spattered dress, she informed him, "Darling, I have killed the one you love most in this world. Now I'm going to cook you the best supper you've ever had." The fuck? Fucking wacko, right? Armour was stunned by what his wife had to tell him, barely able to absorb her casual retelling of the horrific murder. And he's also left with a dilemma now, right? What was he going to do with what he had just learned? The sensible thing was to call the police and turn Clara in, but Armour decided against that, instead concocting a getaway plan. He instructed Clara to drive Alberta's car to Pomona, with him following close behind. The couple then returned to Los Angeles, where they had spent the night at a motel. The following morning, Armour put Clara on a train to Phoenix, Arizona, instructing her to wait there for him. There were some things he needed to tie up, and then he would meet up with her and they could flee to Mexico. Yeah, I'm guessing this is not going to happen, though. Would this escape plan have worked? Perhaps, but Armour never went through with it. The life of a fugitive held little appeal for a man who had worked so hard to achieve his current level of status and success, and so Armour went to the police and told them what he knew. Oh my. Clara was arrested long before her train ever reached Arizona. Clara Phillips had committed an incredibly vile murder, clubbing to death an innocent young woman who had done nothing to deserve her fate. You might expect that the public would have been outraged. Instead, the killer was showered with adulation. What? Why? Her every court appearance was like a Hollywood premiere, with Phillips posing and smiling for the cameras. Adoring fans sent letters, candy, and flowers to her cell. Clara had finally achieved the fame she had come to California to attain, and she was lapping it up. The so-called Tiger Woman was a media phenomenon. But Clara still had serious charges to face, charges that might send her to the gas chamber. Armour all but bankrupted himself, paying for his wife's legal defense. The result, though, was never in doubt. She was found guilty of second-degree murder and sentenced to 10 years to life. It might have been much worse, right? The 3 women on the jury had voted for a first-degree conviction and the death penalty. The male jurors, perhaps beguiled by Clara's looks and dazzling smile, had considered an acquittal. The final verdict was a compromise between those two. The story of Clara Phillips is the kind of scoop that newspaper editors dream of, a gilt-edged guarantee of booming circulation numbers. But the story still had more to give. Much more, really. Just a few days after starting her sentence, Phillips escaped jail, sawing through the bars of her cell with a hacksaw blade smuggled in by an admirer. She would remain at large for almost 4 months before she was tracked to Honduras and brought back to California. What did she do for those 4 months? Clara would ultimately spend 12 years behind bars. During that time, she found religion, formed a 7-piece prison orchestra, qualified as a dental technician, and attempted suicide by slashing her wrists. She was released in 1935, walking from the prison to be met by a crowd several hundred strong, chanting, "Tiger Woman, Tiger Woman." Armour had waited for her all this time? Really? But their marriage would end in divorce just 3 years after her release. Clara then returned to Texas, where she disappeared from public view, and details of her fate are not known. I mean, she's obviously dead, I'm guessing. Wow. What a life. I can't. I don't even know what to say to that. Okay. So something was delivered. Was it my UPS package? Oh no. Fat Quarter Shop. Yeah, I know it was delivered because I got it. Okay. So how are we going to continue to unfuck ourselves here in 2022? Again, it never, when I tear it like it never tears neatly. Okay. Oh, this is a good one. I understand this one today. When you withhold your love for others, you are withholding your experience of being alive. I like that one. That's true. I wholeheartedly agree with that. Love people. Just love each other. You know, everyone thinks, oh, your superpower is being able to be by yourself. I agree that being by yourself sometimes is good, but being by yourself all the time, you're not really going to be the person that you were meant to be, I think. Because I was reading something in one of the books, the Jared Kushner book I was reading, and he said, you know, our true personality and our true self comes out with how we interact with people. So it would be a very desolate and lonely, I would think, life if we were just by ourselves all the time. Not that I mind when Bill goes on the boat or does something with his friends and I'm by myself for a couple hours. Not a problem. I enjoy, you know, him coming back, us having dinner, spending the evening together. Yeah. Okay, someone wanted me to show my Samsung Galaxy Watch more. Bill got this at Costco. It was $200 at Costco because we had seen it and I was like, oh, that's really cool. And we were looking at it and that's how he got the idea. I absolutely love it. It tracks my steps, which I like, but I really like it because I can leave my phone somewhere and be able to get text and emails instantly on here and phone calls. I talked to Bill on it today and he said he could hear me clear as day. It really is awesome. I really, really like it. Yeah, really like it. Plus it's a watch, so it tells the time too. Okay. Going to end this here. I hope you guys are all having a great Thursday. As always, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section below, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.